There is a quiet illusion that seduces many men in their youth, the belief that time is generous, that there will always be tomorrow. We postpone the things that matter, not because we do not care, but because we assume there will be a better moment. We delay difficult conversations, believing the right words will come later. We avoid pursuing our dreams, thinking we need more clarity or courage first. And we withhold forgiveness, waiting for wounds to fade on their own. But time, like a flowing river, does not pause for us to catch up. Ancient Chinese philosophers never spoke of time as a constant companion. To them, time was more like a shadow, always present, always moving, but slipping beyond our grasp the moment we reach for it. They did not ask, "What do you want to be?" They asked, "What are you doing now?" Because what you do in this very breath defines you more than 1,000 intentions ever could. The tragedy is not that life is short, but that we wait so long to begin living it with presence. We are taught to prepare for careers, for security, for old age. But somewhere along the way, we forget that life is not the preparation. It is the unpredictable, imperfect, beautiful process of now. Many men spend decades building toward a future that never quite arrives, only to discover, too late, that the foundation was already there, waiting for them to live upon it. There's an old story about a farmer who wakes each morning to tend his land. His neighbors ask why he starts work so early, even when the sky is still dark. He answers, "Because the sun does not wait for me to begin." There is profound truth in that simplicity. Nature does not delay. The seasons change whether or not we are ready. So why should we delay the things our soul quietly longs for? To live as if time is abundant is to risk reaching the end of your days full of unused potential, unspoken words, and unlived dreams. The men who wake up too late do not regret failure. They regret inaction. Not the risks they took, but the ones they let pass by, wrapped in excuses and fear. So begin. Begin clumsily if you must. Begin without certainty. Begin before you're ready. Write the letter. Visit your aging parents. Say, "I love you," before it's expected. Start building the dream, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. Take the first step, not because you see the entire path, but because the alternative, staying still, will cost you far more. You do not need more time. You need more intention. The clock has never been your enemy. It's only been waiting for you to start listening. There comes a time in a man's life when the noise of the world begins to sound hollow. The praise that once thrilled him, the applause that once affirmed him, begins to fade into the background. What used to feel like achievement now feels like decoration. The outer victories, the promotions, the possessions, the trophies, they shine brightly at first, but their glow never lasts. They are borrowed lights, depending on others to recognize them. And without that recognition, they vanish. Ancient Chinese philosophers saw this clearly. They understood that the most dangerous kind of poverty is not material but spiritual, the kind where a man accumulates everything except peace. Laozi warned that victory over others may give strength, but only victory over oneself brings fearlessness. This kind of victory is not glamorous. It doesn't earn you applause or likes. No one sees it happen. It's forged in solitude, in moments when no one is watching. When you choose restraint over revenge, patience over pride, humility over control. We live in a world that encourages conquest, to win the argument, to win the deal, to win the room. But what is rarely asked is this: who are you when there's nothing left to win? Who are you when you're no longer performing? These are questions only answered through inner work, the kind most men avoid until the world they built on ego begins to crumble. And when it does, if they are willing, a deeper version of themselves emerges, quieter, wiser, more whole. Inner victory is the discipline to face your own weaknesses without flinching. It's the courage to sit with uncomfortable truths rather than running from them. It's the honesty to admit when you're wrong and the strength to grow from it. This victory won't make headlines, but it will shape your character in ways no success ever could. It's easy to overpower others. It is infinitely harder to overpower your own impulses. It is easy to build an image. It is hard to live in truth. And it is easy to chase recognition. It is hard to live without needing it. But once a man learns to win this silent war within, the world outside no longer has control over him. No one teaches boys how to master themselves, how to meet their rage with stillness, their fear with breath, their pain with compassion. These are not the lessons written in textbooks, but they are the foundations of a life with depth. Outer victory brings admiration, inner victory brings peace. And peace, real, quiet, unwavering peace, is what most men are truly chasing beneath all the noise. So if life offers you a choice between being impressive and being whole, choose wholeness. Impressing others is fleeting, but becoming a man you yourself respect, that is victory that lasts. There's a kind of power that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't roar. It doesn't arrive with clenched fists or flashing lights. It doesn't need to. This power is quiet. It waits. It listens. It watches. And when the time is right, it moves, not with urgency, but with certainty. Ancient Chinese philosophers understood this power well. They called it stillness. In today's world, stillness is mistaken for weakness. A man who pauses is seen as indecisive. A man who doesn't react is seen as distant. But this misunderstanding comes from a world addicted to motion, a world that confuses activity with progress and noise with importance. The man who is still is not empty. He is observant. He is grounded. He is choosing not to be moved by every passing wind. Laozi once said, "To the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders." It sounds poetic, but it's a truth we often realize only in the aftermath. After the argument we wish we hadn't started, after the decision we made in haste, after the words we can't take back. In those moments, we feel the cost of reactivity. We recognize that the moments we remained calm, when we chose silence over defense, when we allowed a breath to pass before a word, those were the moments we grew. Stillness is not just the absence of movement, it is the presence of awareness. When a man is still, he is not disengaged from the world. He is finally in conversation with it. He can hear the quiet things, the tension behind a friend's smile, the exhaustion in his own breath, the truth behind what isn't being said. Stillness gives him access to a deeper kind of intelligence, the one that isn't rushed by fear or clouded by ego. But stillness is not easy. It asks you to sit with discomfort instead of distracting yourself. It asks you to wait, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. It asks you to observe your own pain without immediately fixing or fleeing from it. And in doing so, it trains you to become unshakable, not cold, not detached, but steady, fully present, fully alive. Most men discover this too late, after the years of running, chasing, proving. They burn out and wonder why they still feel empty. They long for peace, but haven't built the inner room where peace can live. Stillness, they learn, is not something that finds you. It is something you must create. It is a practice, a returning, a quiet refusal to let the world pull you in every direction except inward. When a man becomes still, he does not shrink. He becomes vast, like a deep lake that reflects the sky clearly only when the ripples fade. In that reflection, he finally sees who he is and who he no longer needs to be. At some point, every man stands at the edge of his own silence. No more noise to chase, no more titles to wear. And in that silence, something ancient stirs. Not regret, but realization. That time was never the enemy. It was the uninvited mirror. You were never asked to be fast, only present. Not flawless, only honest. The victories that matter are often invisible to others, but felt deeply in your own bones. When you show up despite fear, when you choose clarity over chaos, when you pause long enough to hear the truth behind the noise. The road doesn't start tomorrow, it starts here, in the small step, the quiet shift, the breath you choose to take right now. Begin again, not because you are behind, but because you are finally awake.